it's your girl Leah, back again with another video. In today's video, as you can see from the title, it's just my foundation swatches slash mini review slash mini declutter video on the foundations, on the mini foundations that I have in my collection. Now I'm moving soon. If you guys have not been aware, if this is the first video that you've watched from me in a while, I am moving fairly soon, and I have a horde of foundations that some of them will not make it with me to the new place, either because they've expired or they're just plain terrible, or I need to give them away to somebody because the shade match doesn't work best for me. But why not, before I do that declutter, show you guys how it swatches against my skin. A lot of you guys say my description box helps you guys out because I list every foundation that I've tried in my series and what shade I am in that foundation, and I've done it still in this video, but I thought today's video will be helpful so you can actually see how it swatches against my skin and why I think it's a good shade match. And I'll tell you in about 5 words or less if I overall think it's a good foundation or whether it's going in the trash can. Now, without further ado, because I know you guys want to see my lovely face, but you guys want to see the swatches more, let's just head into my swatches declutter slash review video. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be starting on my hand. I'm going to swatch on my hand. Don't mind my scar. If you guys know, last year I was in a car accident and the airbag got me. But I'm starting on this side of my arm because this side is a vastly different color. This is my driving arm. You know, a lot of times your driving arm tans, so this side is a lot darker than the other side. And this is a more reflective side, what my skin color actually is. So this is what I will be starting on. Now, I thought the best way to go through this would be to go by order of brand, and so the first brand I'm going to start with is my newest favorite love and foundation is NARS. You guys know I have a few NARS foundations and I'm going to swatch them here for you today, and this is the Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. So this is what this looks like. If you saw my video, you guys know that I thought that Hawaiian was an amazing shade match for me. And then again, you guys have to also realize that even though I'm swatching it on my hand, if I was swatching it on my face, it'd definitely be a different results. But as you can see, it is blending pretty seamless to my skin. And again, this is Hawaiian and NARS. Now gonna go on to the next newest, I guess, NARS foundation that I own. And it's the NARS All Day Weightless Luminous. And I have this in the shade Cadiz. Cadiz and Hawaiian are very similar. The one thing I'd say about Cadiz is a little bit oranger than Hawaiian. Tahoe by NARS, and I have Tahoe in the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation. And that's Tahoe. Tahoe is a little bit more yellow than Cadiz and both Hawaiian. And the last NARS foundation I have is the NARS Broad Spectrum Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. And I have that in the shade Malaga. And this is what this looks like. And the shade range in the tinted is a lot different than the shade range. And I did a big swatch on this one, so this is going to be pretty big. It's a little bit different than the regular line. They don't have Tahoe and Cadiz in the pure tinted radiant, so that's why the shade is a lot different. And don't mind the huge glob there. Just kind of look at them. And all 4 of these foundations I will be keeping and using up. So none of these are going in the garbage can. One, because NARS is super expensive, and probably all 4 together will total you about $200 something, so they're not going away. But just wanted to give you an idea of the shade range. I thought Tahoe was good for me in the winter. Hawaiian is kind of my shade now, and as you can see, this shade is very, very yellow, so it worked well for me for what I needed it for. So next we're going to take a journey into L'Oreal and the drugstore line. So first we're going to test the L'Oreal True Match against my skin, so we see what the L'Oreal True Match looks like. This first shade that I have in the L'Oreal True Match is W8. As you guys can see, W8 is not a shade match for me, so I will be getting rid of W8 in the L'Oreal True Match. It's just a little bit too dark. It's known as Cream Cafe. It's on the warmer side. It's W, so W stands for warm, and I'll be getting rid of that shade. The next I'm going to go in with is C7, and it's known as Nut Brown. Nut Brown, if you can see, is also dark, so the next shade I'm going to go in with is W7, and this is what W7 looks like. If you guys can see, W7 is swatching beautifully on me. You can almost barely tell that I have foundation on, so I'm going to keep W7. I believe if you watch my True Match video, W7 was my shade match. W7 good for me right now. These two will have to go. I also have N7, and this is what N7 looks like on me. N7 ain't bad. It's not a bad match, although right now in current state, this is probably my better match. Now, keeping in the L'Oreal family, I'm going with the True Match Lumi foundation, which is different than the regular True Match. This is more so geared to somebody with dry skin, and you guys know I have dry skin, and I have it in N7-8. And I'm going to just swatch this. If you guys watch my video, N7-8 was actually my shade match. I also have this foundation in the color C6, which is a soft sable. And it's a little bit too dark for me. So N7, definitely my better shade match. And definitely what will probably look good on me, especially as I go into the summer months and start transforming a little bit. Now, keeping still in the L'Oreal family, I do have the L'Oreal Pro Glow and Pro Matte. I have a few of the Pro Glows. I have a few of the Pro Mattes, as you guys can see. About 5 in total. So I'll just swatch them side by side while I have them right now. So I'll start with the Pro Glows. I have 209, 210, and 211. So let's start with 209. You guys saw my video, 209 was just a little bit too yellow for me, so I will be getting rid of 209. Now, all of these are pretty used foundations. These aren't fairly new, so I won't be donating them. I've gone through the ringers and I've had them for years, so I won't be donating a lot of these. Not because I don't want to, but because I wouldn't give anybody anything disgusting. And so 210, which if you guys watch my video was my shade match. If I blend it actually in, it is a better match. 209 is definitely a lot more yellow. You guys can see them side by side. And then 211, of course, the darker of the three. And next I'll do the Infallible Pro Matte, and this is what 108 looks like. And then beside that we'll add 109. This is the Pro Glow in 209. This is the Pro Glow in 210, which is my match. This is the Pro Glow in 211, which is a little bit too dark. This is the Pro Matte in 108, which was way too yellow. And this is the Pro Matte in 109, which was my shade match. So a lot of people get confused. Pro Glow and Pro Matte, the shades that line up in the Pro Glow and Pro Matte, 109 is a shade match for 210. And they both say classic tan. So 210 is classic tan and 109 is classic tan. You would think the numbers would line up. You think 110 would be classic tan. They're not. So these are my perfect shade matches in both of these. Next line I'm going to do is the Makeup Forever. You guys haven't seen me try any Makeup Forever foundations on my channel, although I do own the HD and the HD stick. Now, I originally bought the HD stick, well, this HD stick, for the Sephora VIB sale haul. This is a stick in the shade 128, which is also known as Y415, and I'll swatch that for you guys. And this is what the foundation looks like in the shade 173, which is Y445. As you can see, clearly the Y445 is closer to me, and that is my shade match. I don't know what made me get the other shade. I feel so bad too because it's so expensive, but this is clearly not my shade match. This is clearly more so my shade because it also matches me in the regular HD foundation. I am 173 also, and that is Y445, and I'll swatch this for you as well. As you guys can see, in both the stick and the HD, this is more so my shade match. This is way too light for me. I don't know whose skin I thought I was. This is more so my shade match in both of them. So in the stick foundations, I'm going to keep the one that matches me, of course. And this is what this looks like. This is what this looks like. I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one because I technically haven't used. I guess I could donate the shade that clearly is not my shade match. I feel so bad about spending all this money, but I guess it can go to a good cause. But again, clearly this one just melts into my skin. If you guys can notice how it has melted into my skin, the other shade is way too light. So next, let's take a trip down Lancome. While we're on the same expensive train, let's stay on the expensive train, and I'll show you what the Lancome foundation looks like. Now, this is in the shade 420 Bisque, and I don't even think the writing is so fine that it'll zoom in, but 420 Bisque in, and this is what this foundation looks like. If you guys can see in my review video, I do have a view video on this. This is probably just one that has just melted right now into my skin. Like, I don't even see it right now. I'm applying it and I'm not even really seeing it. Like, am I not applying it? It's going on. Man, it didn't react this well when I reviewed it in my video. The issue I had with it in my review video is that the end shade is too neutral. I wish it wasn't as neutral. But if you guys can see, it's probably the best one that I put on in this video. I don't know when I filmed my review video. I think I need to re-give this a try. I thought I was going to swatch it and say, give it up. But if you guys can notice right now, it is blending in seamless. Like, I can probably cover up my scar right now. Wow. Look at that. This foundation is a winner. I'm gonna put this in the keeps pile. I didn't think I was gonna like this foundation. If you saw my review video, I wasn't a huge fan, but I can't deny that shade match right now is giving me life. And I told you guys I was more so on the neutral family. Now I'm gonna try the Teint Dual Ultra 24-hour makeup, and I have this in 450 suede nude, and that's what I thought I should have got the stick foundation in. But now I'm starting to question everything. That's probably the best shade match that I've swatched on this channel so far. So this is what 450 suede nude looks like. Dang, this is such a good shade match. This one, it's not a bad shade match, and it definitely matches me more so if I applied it to my face than if I applied it to my skin. You guys can see right now it does blend in a little bit effortlessly. This one blends in effortlessly too. So I think these are both my foundation shade matches, if you guys can see. Wow, I'm so impressed by this foundation. So next, let's go into LA Colors. This is the only LA Colors foundation I own. I have the Pro Coverage HD foundation, and I have them in the color Soft Honey and Tan. Let's do Soft Honey first. Soft Honey, very yellow, but definitely a good winter shade, I think, on me. Now let's go with Tan. Wow, this is really turning into something different. This is turning into the better match for me. Tan is not really matching me really well. The Soft Honey is really being a shade match for me. I'm really impressed. Now the next two foundations you are seeing from me are very new purchases from me, so you have not seen a review video for either of these foundations, but one is the Smashbox Camera Ready and one is the Smashbox Studio Skin. These are the only two Smashbox products that I own. I have been loving this foundation, and if you guys see how easy that blends in, it's been weightless. Oh my gosh, I've been wanting and dying to do a review video for this, but I just haven't found the time to kind of do one, but I will. Now the BB cream, I wanted something, since we are in the summer months, I wanted something that was a little bit more lightweight. So I don't have that many BB creams tinted moisturizer, so I really wanted one this summer. I don't hate this one. I'm gonna apply it right now, and I have this in the shade medium, and I'm sorry I didn't say what shade I had in the Studio Skin. I have the Studio Skin in the shade 3.35. So medium in the BB cream, 3.35 in the other foundation. It's a good shade match too. So I really did well with my Smashbox picks. I've been sleeping on them for years. In this month, it's my first time ever trying Smashbox foundations. I love their primer. It's very lightweight, but if you guys can see, that other foundation blended so well. It's like skin, but better. So let me go into the luxury brand real quick, and this is of course the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Probably one of the most expensive foundations that I own, and I'm running out of, so probably won't be throwing it and getting rid of it at all because it's expensive, and two, I'm down to the wire on it. If you guys can see, beautiful shade match, very expensive foundation. I don't think I'll be repurchasing it afterwards just because I found cheaper foundations that I love better, but it feels like butter. It blends seamlessly into the skin, and as you can see, it's a very perfect shade match, and in that foundation I am the shade 9. So I'm going to go from luxury to very cheap again, and we're going to go to Wet n Wild. I know I'll be getting rid of a couple of these because if you watch my video, wasn't that impressed by the foundation, but also the shades that I got, I've been holding on to because I knew I was going to do a video like this, but I should have been gotten rid of it. The first one I'm going to do is Amber Beige. The next one I'm going to do is Desert Beige, and if you guys can see this is going to be nowhere near my shade. And then I'm going to lastly swatch Toffee. Now this is Amber Beige. Amber Beige ain't bad, but it's definitely got a pinky undertone, and it may look like it's matching me really well right now, but that's only because I haven't tanned as much as I can for the summer. It looks very pink on me. Now the next one is Desert Beige. if you can see beside it, it's a little bit more yellow. Like I said, amber beige more pink. This one is more yellow. Toffee is definitely more so what would be considered. Wow, this is a true change. I think in my video, Toffee I thought was more so my shade match. Well, no, I'm gonna correct that. I think if I mix the two together, so if I mix like I'm doing right now, I'm mixing two of the shades together, it created my perfect. I don't think I had a very much so perfect shade match in this foundation. It was kind of a mixed situation, which wasn't bad because the foundation is so inexpensive. So both I think are $6. But if you guys can see right now, if I blend them two effortlessly, and I'm blending right now Desert Beige and Toffee, it does match my skin a lot better than just using one or the other on their own. And if you guys, you can't really see, but the amber beige is just too pink. It radiates too pink on the skin. So I'm going to definitely be getting rid of amber beige, but I'll probably keep Desert Beige and Toffee for mixing purpose. Now next I'm going to go into my Bobbi Brown foundation. You guys know recently this has been one of my faves. Now that I found that Smashbox foundation though, I've been kind of not reaching for this as much. I'm going to use it up, but I'll probably switch over to Smashbox just because it's a little bit less expensive. And this is how this foundation looks. Like, it just blends in like a dream. Can you guys not see this? And it looks so much like skin. Like, it'll up on me. Like, up on me. Does not look like I have any foundation on whatsoever. Now next, let's go into another drugstore fave foundation, in Maybelline. I have a lot of different Maybelline foundations. I'm going to go through these fairly quickly just because, like I said, I do have a lot of Maybelline. So this is Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless version, and this is the shade 335, which is also known as Classic Tan. And I think in my review video, Classic Tan was my perfect shade matte. Now I do own the Fit Me in another shade too, and this is 330, which is Toffee Caramel. Like, Maybelline keeps coming out with more shades in the Fit Me line. Pretty soon they're probably gonna have a shade for everything. You guys can see right now, this is 330, this is 335. I have been switching between the two, quite honestly. I think in my review video, I think I was 330, but then I later picked up 335 because I was like, I don't know which one I could be, who I am. But this is them side by side. I will be keeping both of them just because Maybelline is fairly inexpensive and I don't feel like my money was wasted, and sometimes I do like going back to this. Right now it's looking like 335 is fitting me a little bit better than the Toffee shade is. If you guys are seeing it right now, this is just matching a little bit better than Toffee. Now let's go into the Fit Me Dewy and Smooth, and in that I have Toffee. Now I haven't used this foundation in forever, not because I haven't loved it, just because I have so many foundations, as you guys can see. Yeah, it's just so weird because this is Toffee in the matte and poreless, this is Toffee in the Dewy and Smooth, and they just don't look that, they look similar, but this fits me very well. So I will stick with the Dewy and Smooth. So let's keep on this Maybelline train, and I will try next the Maybelline Superstay. You guys know this is a fairly new foundation. It was full coverage. My thoughts on it were that I didn't think it was worth the hype, but then again, I'm not a full coverage lover. I don't know if I've said it in this video yet, but I love a sheer to medium coverage, and I also just am not a fan of full coverage foundations overall. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, not the absolute best shade match. I've blended out other foundations that have matched me a lot better than this foundation. I actually am going to get rid of it though. It's not one of my favorite ones. I can pass it down to my sister, my littlest sister, who's closer to my shade match than my older sister. So I can give her this foundation, but for me, it's just not hitting. Next foundation for Maybelline is a Dream Cushion foundation. If you watch my review video, since my review video, I have gotten so much love out of this foundation. Like, this foundation has been my road dog. Like, this foundation comes through when I need it to come through. I'm still not a huge fan of the cushion concept, but it's so natural and lightweight and more up my alley. If you can see, this is so full coverage. This is so not full coverage, which is much more my speed. And in that foundation, I am in this shade Caramel 55. I don't know if I said what I was in the Maybelline. And the Maybelline Superstay, I am the shade 334 Warm Sun. So 55 Caramel in this foundation, as you can see, is much more of a shade match than this situation. So I still have 3 more Maybelline foundations to kind of test out. Let me first go with the Better Skin. I know I'm getting rid of this. If you saw my review video for this foundation, if you can see how even it came out, like I hate this foundation because it's so freaking stiff. Like, not a huge fan of this foundation. I'm in this shade 90, which is Warm Honey. It's just too thick of a foundation, and even though the match ain't bad, it's just not a good foundation in my opinion. It's so thick. The next foundation is a foundation you guys haven't seen a review on, and it's literally my first time testing it. As soon as I bought it, the stick broke, so I've been not testing it. So this swatch is going to be the first time I ever swatched this foundation. I know that's sad, but let's just get into it. And it's not even really a match. It's not even a match for me. So I have no really thoughts on the Liquid Mousse Foundation by Maybelline. I do have this in the shade 120 Caramel. I'm typically a caramel in a foundation, but clearly it's just not as caramely as the other caramels. So I will be probably getting rid of this. I've had this foundation for a while too. As soon as I opened it and I saw the stick was broke, I was pretty much over it. Next, a foundation that I've been loving more recently. Again, you guys, I said recently I'm getting into the BB cream phase. I'm liking BB creams, and this is no exception. This is the Maybelline BB cream in this shade Medium Deep Sheer Tint. Now, the range on this foundation sucks. Maybelline needs to do better with their BB creams, but this is the shade. Again, it blends seamlessly into my skin, and that's why I've been loving this. Now, again, this is the BB cream. You can barely see it now, and it's so lightweight and perfect for the summer. I've literally just opened this within the last week, though. Got it in the last week, been trying it in the last week. So next, who doesn't love MAC? And I have quite a few MACs foundations, so let's just go through this thing. Now, first, I'm going to start with the ever famous, probably the first ever foundation that I ever had in my collection. Not this particular one, but the first ever foundation that I ever probably bought with my own money was the Maybelline Studio Fix Fluid Foundation. I have this in the color NC45 because that's what MAC always tries to put everybody at who's brown skin. I think I've always stuck with that in this foundation. And I just remembered my pump is broken, so I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Now, this is what this foundation looks like. Sometimes I feel like I'm an NC42 closer to shade, but I will keep this because I do kind of tan a little bit when I'm, getting towards that shade. So I'm going to keep this. Next, let's do the foundation that I pretty much know I'm probably going to keep only to mix in with other foundations, but I will never use it on its own, and it's the MAC Next to Nothing. Now, I was the shade Dark in Next to Nothing. It's not bad, it's just nothing. Like, this foundation is like literally when you put it on your skin, it like does nothing for the skin. But if you guys can notice, it's a way better shade match than this NC45. But again, it's like nothing on my skin, which I like nothing on my skin when it comes to the MAC Face and Body, which is my, all-time favorite foundation. I love the sheer coverage of it. But it's like I know what I'm getting with this. Like, it's cheaper, and I am the shade C6 in MAC Face and Body. So this is Next to Nothing, and it looks like next to nothing. Like, you guys can't really see, even if I zoom in, you can kind of see remnants of it, but good foundation for lightweight. I do like the MAC Face and Body. It does have a little bit more coverage to it. So next, let's go with the Pro Longwear foundation, and in that I do have an NC44. And this is what I'm talking about. I think NC44 is probably what I need to start saying I am in MAC, because if you guys can see, this is blending in very seamlessly. So next, the foundation I will be getting rid of is the MAC Mineralize foundation. You guys know this is probably the only foundation that I've ever tried in my series that has broken me out. It's a little bit too dark, and guess what this is? This is an NC44. No joke, this is an NC44. And if you saw my review video, I was like, how is this an NC44? Like, this is a MAC Pro Longwear NC44. This is the Mineralize in NC44. Why is one NC44 a whole different color? Like, why is it a different color? Like, it just makes no sense. This foundation is definitely going in the no pal. I haven't reached for it since that review video. That was the grand opening, grand closing for that foundation. Now, I heard good things about it because it was supposed to be for dry skin, but it's a no. This is the MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof, and in that I am NC45. And this is what this looks like. So not one MAC shade is created equally. As you saw from my last swatch, as well as this is an NC44, this is an NC44, this is an NC45, and these two are probably my better shades. Now let's do Fenty. Let's see what I am in Fenty. Fenty, I have the Pro Filt'r in 370. You guys have probably seen my Fenty review video. This is what Fenty looks like. Not a bad foundation, not a bad shade match. Will I repurchase it? I don't know. I think in that video I made it clear that I was on the fence. I think we gotta support our own out here. We definitely gotta support our own, but the foundation didn't really wow me. But I am impressed by these shade matches that they got going on with Fenty. So this is 370 on my skin. Now this is another foundation that I have not tried ever. So this is gonna be my grand opening on it. This is the Black Radiance True Complexion BB cream. I've been saving this summer to try my BB cream, so of course I was going to try this next week in my summer BB cream series. And let's see, it looks like I won't be trying it. Looks like it is way too dark. Yep. So definitely about to give this away to my older sister. This looks like it'll probably be a better match for her than it is for me. I'm really interested to try it though. Like if I can find it in a shade. Maybe Cafe was a little bit too dark. Maybe I could go a little bit lighter. So next let's go into Estee Lauder and we're going to do Double Wear. And this is in the color Bronze. So let's just swatch this bad boy. This is definitely a keeper in terms of foundation. It's definitely an all-day wear. It's definitely a stay in place. It's definitely transfer resistant. If you watch my review video, you know this about this foundation. The shade match is pretty seamless, as you guys are seeing right now. I'm trying to build it up so it'll actually appear. Yeah, so if you guys can see, I've tried to build it up and build it up as much as possible. I do have foundation on my arm. Like I'm trying it. The shade match is, you can clearly see, is just a very good shade match. So next let's go into Easy Breezy Beautiful. Now a foundation you guys have never seen me try on this channel, but this is probably gonna have to go in the trash can just simply how old it is. But this is one of the first drugstore foundations I bought. I think I bought this in high school. Not this particular one. I think I repurchased it in college though, so that means it's probably time to go because I ain't been in college in a while. But this was, at the time that I bought it, what I thought was a perfect shade match. Now I didn't have anything to compare it to because at that time I probably owned this and MAC Studio Fix. But I think the Queen collection, at the time, that was all we really had at the drugstore, like, to be honest, in terms of shade matches. So I really went ham on it. It's the Natural Hue foundation. It is in the color Classic Bronze. Now, I like this foundation. Like, I did like this foundation at the time. If I can go back to the store and probably find it, I probably will repurchase it because it was very lightweight, but I have to throw it away because I have probably had that foundation for over 4 years at this point. So next I'm going to go into the Covergirl TruBlend Matte Made foundation. You guys, if you've seen my review recently on this, you know what shade matches me perfectly. Now this first shade is T60, which if you saw my review video, you guys know is my shade match. If you guys are seeing, it blends in seamless to my skin, as well as it does oxidize a little bit. So it does oxidize a little bit too much, which was my complaint with this. This is T80 in this foundation. If you guys saw my review video for this, you know T80 was just too dark for me. And then of course we have D10, which if the other one was too dark, you can imagine that D10 wouldn't be perfect for me. Now a foundation that I think gets slept on, if you guys have watched my video on this, I thought the Healthy Elixir was a good foundation. You just don't hear people talking about it from CoverGirl. I like this foundation. Good shade match. Overall felt good. I feel like this is what the Better Skin by Maybelline wanted to be, but it's clearly not. And I will keep this foundation just because I just love it. Sometimes I love reaching for this. It just makes my skin feel super, super soft. So next brand is Revlon, and I only have the Colorstay from Revlon as well as the Coverstay Photo Ready foundation. So this is probably going to be very quick. Now the one with the white lid is the normal to dry. The one with the black lid is the oily combination. I'm probably going to have to get rid of this foundation, not because it's bad, because I love this foundation, but because it's old. As you guys can see in the bottle right now, it's separating. I don't even want to say how long I've had these foundations. It's been a while, so I'm probably going to have to re-up on this. Now the first shade I have is 400, And if you saw my review video, I had to mix 2 shades together to find my perfect shade in this. But you guys have let me know recently Revlon came out with some new colors, and I need to check them out because you were like, this shade will probably match you better. As you guys can see, this is way too dark. 400 is way too dark, and 370 is way too light. In the video I mixed them together, which I'm doing right now to kind of show you, and it matched me beautifully. Now you guys have let me know there is some shades in between 370 and 400 now that you feel like will match me better. So when I repurchase this, I will definitely get those shades, but as of right now I'm gonna have to go ahead and leave these to the wayside because they are way too old for me to use right now. Now this is the Revlon and the normal to dry, and I have that in 400, and let's just see what that looks like. I have not used this foundation in so long, and it looks just like the other one. Sometimes the normal to dry and the oily combination, the shades are different. This one is the same. I'll probably have to get rid of this one too because it's just not a shade match for me. Now this is the Revlon Airbrush Effect foundation, and I have not done a review video on this one because I don't know, this foundation didn't seem even worth making a review video for. It's not bad. I like using it. Do I think it's photo ready like the name says? It's like Revlon Airbrush Effect. Do I think it gives the airbrush effect? No, but I do reach for it. I think in the wintertime it's much better of a shade match, but this is in the shade 10 Caramel. Now a foundation that I can't express my thoughts on because I'm literally unpackaging it as we are sitting here on camera right now. I've owned it for quite some time. I got it from Target. It is the Amon foundation. I have this in the color Earth 1. This is my first time trying it, so I have no thoughts on it. I'm just really hoping that it's a shade match for me. And no, I am terrible at picking drugstore foundation shade matches clearly. This is going to have to go with the Black Radiance and giving it away to my little sister. My little sisters are going to be getting a lot of foundations today. This is just, no. But I will go back to the store. I bought this so long ago that you're probably like, why don't you just return it? I bought this months ago. So don't think I can return it, but I will definitely try to find what I am in Iman. I usually can pick a foundation shade. Iman is really, you know, switching it up on the girls. Okay, so the next foundation I have is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I have this in the shade 09, which is also known as tan, if it'll show up on camera. And if you guys can see, it's a pretty good shade match. I like the coverage on this as well. If you're looking for something with a little bit more coverage from the drugstore, I like the Milani. I just hate the shade range on it. You would think they would have more because a lot of times I look at Milani and I think, oh, sometimes they're for women of color. I need to realize that sometimes they're really not for women of color. The next foundation I'm going to try is the Becca Ultimate Coverage Foundation. This is full coverage in the high-end side. I have it in the shade Amber. So if you can see right now, even the Milani is a little bit better than this one. I said in that video, it's a little bit redder, and I think I should have gone with Maple, which used to be known as Tobacco, for the ultimate coverage. It's just a little bit too much red for me. The next foundation that I have is the All Nighter by Urban Decay, and this is my go-to for full coverage in the outside of the drugstore. So yeah, it does look a little bit yellower than the other one does. I didn't notice how yellow it is. Am I looking like yellow? I use this in pretty much every video that I ever filmed, even today in today's video. Let me know down below, have I been using the wrong foundation shade? But typically when I put it on my face, it doesn't look as yellow as it's looking right now. But that is the All Nighter, and in the All Nighter I am in the shade 875. My last two, I don't have a review on the Cover FX foundation simply because I've recently been trying it out and I'm still trying to work out how I feel about this foundation. I think my issue with it is the shade of it. Now it looks kind of, it matches me well, but it's a little bit too neutral in my opinion. My undertone a lot of the time is more of a neutral undertone, and this is the perfect neutral undertone. I think, what is the shade name? It is G70. I like the shade range of it, but it's a little too neutral. It's one of those neutral that airs on the side of being gray. Now, if you guys are seeing right now, blends in beautifully. But it's definitely a little bit too gray in my opinion. And the last foundation that I'm going to swatch for you today is the Hourglass foundation. You guys saw my review on this. If not, click above. This is Golden Amber. for me, this wasn't worth the price for me. That was my honest review on the Hourglass. Not worth the price on it. Cover FX, I'm really impressed right now. Some of these have been showing out on camera from you guys today. So yes, overall, this has been my foundation declutter slash swatch slash mini review video. If you guys have any questions about these foundations, leave them down below. I think I'm getting rid of quite a few foundations. If you guys see these and this, and I have quite a few that I feel like I'm getting rid of. I'm keeping quite a few, and I'm probably going to hold off on buying any new foundations, but I'm always open for suggestions. I am a foundation junkie. If you have any suggestions for any foundations that you feel like I should try, leave them down below. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Lia Lavon 89. Make sure you have that bell on and stay subscribed to me so you don't miss any of my content, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. She a gypsy girl, she a fine like the sunrise.